Line twist can absolutely ruin your day of fishing. Well, every bass angler at some point in their fishing journey has dealt with line twist. It is a nightmare. Well, these are 6 super useful tips that I think can help you out with this very common problem. And I've broken these tips down into 2 categories, preventative and reactive. So let's go ahead and get started. Tip number 1 is to make sure that those soft plastics are rigged correctly. You want to make sure that you rig them straight and that they are not bunched up, because then oftentimes when you retrieve that lure back, they're going to start to roll. And if they start to roll, you're going to get some serious line twist. Number 2, for a preventative way to stop line twist, is to make sure that you spool that line onto your reels correctly. Baitcast reels are very simple. The spool is set horizontally. You want to make sure that your line is set this direction, and then go ahead and have that line come off the top and just spool it up. It's just going to come right off of here nice and easy. You know, put a pencil or rig up something where that spool can go ahead and just free spin like this, and make sure you got a little bit of tension between your fingers while you're spooling it up. Baitcaster's pretty easy. Now, as far as spinning reels, this is where there's a lot of problems that take place. First thing that you want to do is look at your particular spinning reel. Does it pick up clockwise, counterclockwise? So as you're sitting there looking at it and you're turning that reel handle, which way is that rotor going? Okay. You then want to take your line, your spool of line, set it down on a flat surface, and make sure that it is peeling off the opposite direction. So if your rotor is picking up clockwise, you want your spool, the line on the spool, to come off counterclockwise. And you can go ahead and watch your rod tip, and as you're putting that line on, if you have the spool, the line coming off the wrong direction, it's going to twist up there at the tip almost immediately. So then you know you got to take that and flip it over, and then you can go ahead and be putting it on the right way. So which direction is the rotor going? It wants to come off the spool the opposite direction. Number 3, use braid if you're comfortable doing so, especially on spinning reels, and then put a fluorocarbon or mono leader on there. Braid is much less apt to twist. It does not have the memory that monofilament and fluorocarbon do. So if you're comfortable using braid, go ahead and put braid on your bait casters and spinning reels and put some leaders on there, and I think you'll be very happy with the results. All right, these next 3 are more reactive, so you've already got line twist. So number 4 is go ahead and snip your lure off if you're out in the boat, and then spool out a bunch of line behind the boat, and then just idle for a little bit. As you are idling, that line is going to resist the water, and it's going to untwist. It's a lot like if you have an extension cord and it's all messed up. You can undo the extension cord, walk through the grass in your yard, and it will untwist. The exact same process applies to your line. So if you're in the middle of a day of fishing, you've got all kinds of twists, it's a problem, snip that lure off, put about 40, 50, 60 yards behind you or more, and just idle the boat, and it will untwist. It works great. Number 5, and this specifically applies to mono. Monofilament has a ton of give and stretch in it. Well, sometimes that mono gets all bound up tight, and if you're just you got line twist, and let's say your bait caster, spinning equipment, but you want to get out on the water quick, go ahead and tie that line off to something, a tree, tie it off to the cleat on your boat, whatever it might be. Put out 50, 60 yards, and then just literally pull it. Give it a stretch. Eliminate some of that stretch, and this works really well if you're in a pinch and you want to get that line twist out. And tip number 6 for eliminating line twist is when you have presentations that are very likely to cause twist, and ones that pop into mind first are drop shots and floating worms. Go ahead and use a swivel. On all my drop shot rigs, I put a swivel about anywhere from 15 to 20 inches above the hook. There are even hooks on the market that have swivels built into them to eliminate this very common problem when drop shots are reeled back to the boat. They like to spin and twist really bad. And floating worms, that's another one. Well, I'll always put a swivel up above the worm quite a bit, 3 feet or so, to eliminate that line twist. And hey, if you're interested in putting braid on your spinning reels and how it can really help you cast farther and eliminate that line twist, you want some more details, go ahead and check this video out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.